Hey friends, welcome back to Acre Homestead. My name is Becky if you're new, and today we are going to be preserving up black gold and the #1 most essential emergency survival food / drink. What is that, you ask? Coffee. We are going to be freeze drying coffee and cream because we cannot go through life without a little bit of coffee, especially in an emergency situation. Now, the reason I decided that I wanted to freeze dry coffee is because I sometimes just want 1 cup, and I really like drip coffee. And I don't really want to buy the instant coffee at the store because I have very specific tastes. I grew up in Portland, Oregon. If you don't know, we are known for coffee. And I want to freeze dry and preserve up my own creamer. And so I thought this is going to be awesome. We are going to freeze dry our own coffee so that I can make just 1 cup of coffee with a little bit of boiling water and add a little bit of cream because I do take cream in my coffee. So in the event of emergency and power outages, I can always have a pot of boiling water on the stove because we keep a lot of wood around here. So I don't want to go a day without coffee, and that is why we are freeze drying it today. I will leave a link down in the description box for the freeze dryer I have if you're interested. Today we are going to be freeze drying frozen coffee. This is the first time I'm going to be freeze drying from a frozen state. Normally I start with fresh food, but I have found when I freeze dry broth, that is my favorite thing to freeze dry so far. I'll leave a link down in the description box if you want to see a video on that. But I have found that when you freeze dry a liquid, it takes a really long time because what it has to first do is freeze the food, and then it has to evaporate the liquid, and because liquids have so much liquid or water in them, it takes a long time. So I thought, let's make the freeze dryer work a little less hard, and let's get this coffee frozen first so that it'll be a lot easier to freeze dry in the long run. All I did to make my coffee is I just made 3 pots of coffee just like I typically would in my coffee pot. I put them in mason jars and I let them cool down to room temperature because I didn't want to put really hot coffee in my freezer. Stay tuned after we freeze dry the coffee because we are also going to be freeze drying up cheese for a couple special recipes that are coming up. We are in my garage in my deep freezer here, and I have my 2 Harvest Right trays, and I'm going to fill them with coffee. I don't know exactly how much coffee is going to fit in each tray because I've never done this before. So 1 quart fits on 1 tray. I could probably fill it a little bit more, but I don't want to overfill it and make a mess in my freezer. Frozen peas worked really well to help level this. It did take me a second to figure out how to level everything in here. This is definitely a learning curve. Next time I do this, I'm going to make sure I have a very, very level spot before I attempt to pour liquid in my freezer so I don't make a mess in my freezer. Our last tray is going to be half and half. In our freezer, we have 1 tray of half and half and 3 trays of coffee. And I think that I definitely want to have more coffee in here than half and half. So let's say goodbye to this. We're going to close this up and we'll be back when these are completely frozen. It has only been about 3 or 4 hours and the coffee and cream is completely frozen. I'm kind of surprised how fast that froze. So now we're going to get the freeze dryer ready to do the next step. We need to start the freeze dryer and it needs to cool for 15 minutes. We also need to make sure the vacuum chamber is closed, and I just closed it. So this just has to cool for 15 minutes and we will get the coffee and cream in here. We are at 15 minutes, so let's get this loaded. Now all we have to do is hit continue. The sensor says it's freezing because what the machine will do is it will freeze your food before it starts freeze drying. It will sense that it's already frozen and skip to freeze drying. I'll show you what it looks like when it's all freeze dried, and then we will test a cup of coffee together. Friends, it is now done. All we have to do is push the cancel button. Now there's 2 things we can do. We're going to empty this, and I could push more dry time if it needs more dry time, or I could push defrost. We have to depressurize. Now that it's depressurized, we can open the machine, and there is a layer of ice that forms on the inside, and we can either defrost that or we can run another cycle. But this feels completely done to me. Oh yeah, dry. What we're gonna do now is we are gonna take this out of the freeze dryer and we are going to process them and package them up. And then we are not gonna defrost because we are gonna do a bonus freeze dry project at the end of this. And I'll show you what that is when we get to it. So there is an area right here where this is not freeze dried yet, it's ice. So I was wrong, we're gonna put this back in the freeze dryer and we are gonna keep freeze drying it because they are not quite done. I did just taste a little bit of it and whoo, is it strong. It tastes really good. It tastes exactly like the type of coffee it is because it is that type of coffee, but it still needs to freeze dry for a little bit longer. I just put them back in there. We have to make sure the drain valve is closed again and we just click the more dry time. It is now done. We are gonna turn it off. We're gonna open the drain valve. I already checked it once this morning, but while I was getting ready for the day, I figured I would just have it running so that it wasn't out of the freeze dryer collecting moisture. Because once you have it out of the freeze dryer, you want to process it and get it in jars as quickly as possible. This is what it's looking like. It definitely freeze dried a way more down than I was expecting. This tray had the most coffee in it and it has clearly the most in it. So next time I do this, I'm gonna make sure that I completely have them level so that I can fill them all the way in my freezer because I don't think I had it completely full in my freezer and the cream hardly shrunk at all. So let's get them into jars. I have my blender out and we are gonna blend up the cream first. I got out a small canning jar and a large canning jar expecting to put the coffee in the large one because we had 3 trays, but we are putting the coffee in the small one. I have a pot of coffee on because we're gonna taste test this cream, and I have a pot of boiling water on so we can taste test the coffee. So we're gonna do kind of a side-by-side comparison. We're just gonna take this cream and put it in our blender and blend it up. I have to say I'm super thrilled with how that cream turned out. Now let's get to the coffee. I don't even think I need to blend this up because it's so powdery, so we're just gonna stick this coffee right into the jar. I'm just breaking it up a little bit with my spatula here. Friends, we have our cream and our coffee here. I am shocked by how condensed this got. This is very strong. We have in this half pint, so 1 cup of freeze-dried coffee, we have 3 quarts of coffee, liquid coffee. So this is powerful stuff. We are gonna be doing some Valentine's Day baking together, some truffles and things, and I need espresso powder. This is gonna be perfect for that. But first, before we do that, we need to taste test everything. I have here a pot of coffee I just brewed, and I have some hot water. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna taste test the cream with just some regular coffee so we can kind of see what that's like. And then we are going to make up some of our instant coffee and we're gonna put cream in it. We're gonna do a side-by-side comparison and we're gonna see what we think. I think this would be perfect, not only for emergency situations, like the power goes out and I can't use my electric coffee pot and I can only use my wood stove, but this would be perfect for camping because when we go camping, we always bring instant coffee. So I'm pretty excited about this. I am shocked though how reduced it got. So let's give this a taste test. Now we must remember how condensed this coffee is. So I'm gonna put just a spoonful. That's probably 1 teaspoon. One of you guys sent me these spoons and I love them. I think they're gorgeous and I use them every single day. And let's constitute that and see how dark we get it. Wow, that just melts instantly. Okay, there's our 1 cup. Now in here, we're gonna put our regular coffee. We'll see kind of the darkness and we'll do a taste test as well to know if I added too much or too little of the powder in here. To To me, the color looks about the same. This might be just a little bit lighter. So I think I'm gonna put just a smidge more. Okay, now we're gonna use our cream. We're gonna do half a spoonful. We're gonna stir that together. Now it is time to give it a taste test. So first what we're gonna do is we're gonna taste our regular coffee with our cream in it that we freeze dried. Tastes like coffee with cream. I can't tell any difference with that at all. Now this one is a little bit lighter. This is the one we freeze dried the coffee and the cream. That's hotter because that water was a lot hotter, which actually I like because I prefer really, really hot coffee. And that tastes really good. That tastes fantastic. I can't tell a difference. Now I have a lot of coffee that I have to drink today. I am thrilled with the results on that. I am excited just to be able to make one quick little cup of coffee and not have to make an entire pot, get my pot dirty. I can just put this right into my cup, boil some water, and yeah, I'm so happy with that. Now, what I'm gonna do is we are gonna do a bonus. I know you were here for freeze-dried coffee, but I am doing a pantry challenge right now, and I have a lot of popcorn I wanna use up. And we are gonna attempt to make goldfish crackers. My husband's favorite goldfish crackers are the Flavor Blast, the ones that have the coating of the cheese on the outside. And so I wanna get some freeze-dried cheese so that we can make a coating for popcorn because we need to use up the popcorn I bought. I bought a 25-pound bag of popcorn and we don't eat popcorn very much, but I think that if I have some good toppings to put on it, we'll start using that as a snack. And then I also need the freeze-dried cheese so we can make the Flavor Blast goldfish. So I know this is gonna work. I've never done it, but I've seen it all over on the internet. Don't forget, if you are interested in the freeze dryer, it will be linked down in the description box. I have a medium size freeze dryer and I wouldn't go any smaller than that if I were you. I personally kind of wish I had the larger one because if you're gonna get it, I would get the larger one just because I just would do that, but that's just me. So let me get the trays washed up and then we're gonna get the cheese on the trays and we're gonna get them in the freeze dryer. I'm not gonna freeze these ones first. I'm gonna do 3 different types of cheese. We have mozzarella, sharp cheddar, and Parmesan. I'm gonna use my food processor to slice them up, or shred them up, I should say. I'm just gonna chop these down a little bit so my food processor can handle it. I buy my cheese through Azure Standard and I really like them because I can get really good quality cheese. This is raw, sharp cheddar cheese and it's only $5 and something a pound. If I was to buy this same cheese at my local grocery store, I would spend over $12 a pound. So I'm gonna link them down below if you're interested. I'm also going to link my food processor because I get a lot of questions about my food processor. This is Parmesan cheese. I really want to get Parmesan cheese because I think that this is what I'm going to use for the goldfish crackers. So instead of using the shredding section for Parmesan, I like to use the S blade and we're going to grind it up. Okay, in the food processor, and then I just turn it on and let it go crazy. I already had some in the fridge. I'm going to put it in the freeze dryer too. This is the real Parmesan from Italy. This is some American version, but I'm gonna mix the two together. I think it'll be fine. We have 2 different types of cheddar. This is a different type of cheddar here. So cheddar, mozzarella, and now Parmesan. Put these in the freeze dryer and let them do their thing. We do not have to go through the cooling process again because it's still cool from freeze drying the coffee and the cream. We have to make sure the drain valve is closed again. Then we just turn it on and let it go. I don't think this is gonna take very long, probably just today and then overnight, and in the morning it should be done because there's not very much moisture in cheese. Our cheese is done. I opened the valve and now we can take our freeze-dried cheese out. Well, I believe it's done. I haven't checked it yet. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I am going to run this one more time. I'm going to make some dog treats with some liver that I have in the freezer, but there's so much ice, I think I need to defrost it before I run it one more time. All you have to do that is click the defrost button, and it takes 2 hours, and it will defrost all on its own. All of that ice is going to melt. That's why you want to keep the drain valve open. And I have a bucket here with the hose, and all the water will drain into that bucket. I can't find my canning funnel right now, so I just makeshift one with this little bit of parchment paper, and we're gonna fill our canning jar with our freeze-dried cheese. This is one of the coolest and most interesting things I've ever freeze-dried so far. If you just get a piece of cheese like this and taste it, it tastes like a cheese cracker. I'm making a mess. Let's do this. Let's do this on the tray and see if we make a little bit less of mess. Here's the Parmesan. This is incredible. I am starting to think of all the ways I want to use this. We got a total of 1/2 gallon of cheddar cheese. We got basically a pint of Parmesan cheese and 1 quart of mozzarella cheese. So 1 full heaping tray of cheese fills 1 quart. There's so much protein and things in cheese. They don't shrink very much. So that is really, really cool. I was kind of snacking and taste testing all these cheeses as I was jarring them up. The Parmesan is incredible. This here is basically shelf-stable Parmesan cheese, just like the stuff you get in that green shaker can, but this stuff is way better quality. This is real Parmesan cheese from Italy. There's a little bit of other Parmesan cheese mixed in there as well, but I think that this in a shaker to put on salads, pizzas, I'm gonna grind it up just a little bit finer. Is pasta, to have a shelf-stable one in my pantry where I don't have to worry about it, you know, going bad in my refrigerator, but I can still have that really good quality fresh Parmesan cheese on salads, pizzas, pastas. I am excited about this. I'm excited about our coffee and our cream. I think the cheddar cheese, a great application for this would be in a salad, just like on top, used as a salad topper in place of, say, a crouton, because it gives you that crunch you want, but it definitely increases the flavor. That's one thing I've noticed with freeze drying is it intensifies the flavor of your food, which is pretty cool. Down. The way we are going to store these freeze-dried goods is in a mason jar with the top unscrewed tight. If you want this stuff to last for 20, 30 years, you need to get some oxygen absorbers and Mylar bags and put them in there and seal them. That is not my goal. My goal is to go through this, and so that is why I am going to store this in a mason jar. And then look what just came in the mail today. I'm going to show you. This is a goldfish cracker cutout, and we are going to be making goldfish crackers with this freeze-dried cheese. I'm going to powder it up, and we are going to toss our goldfish crackers in the cheese because flavor blasted goldfish crackers are my husband's favorite, and that is why I started this project first, was because I needed to freeze dry the cheese so we can make cheese powder. With the cheddar cheese, we can powder this up, and I think I'm going to attempt to try to make some homemade version of instant macaroni and cheese. So we'll see how that goes. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this freeze dry project just as much as I enjoyed doing this freeze dry project. I cannot wait till we start using these things together. If you want to see what else I freeze dried, I will leave a video right here. You can check that out. We've done eggs, peppers, candy, and the list is just going to grow and grow and grow of all the things that we can do with our freeze dryer. If you're interested in the freeze dryer I have and checking it out and reading about it, I will link that down in the description box. I also will put a couple cooking videos down here that you can go enjoy. In the meantime, if you are new around here, please consider subscribing. If this video was enjoyable, please give it a thumbs up. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, guys. I don't know if you noticed, but my dogs are right here. I think they deserve a little piece of freeze-dried cheese since they were being so well behaved sitting there. Sit. Good boy. Leave it. It's right there. Can you see that piece of cheese? Break. Good job. See you next time.